This time it ain't just about being fast.
It's about being furious. It's the title. Welcome everyone to Caleb Watches Movies, the channel where I, Caleb, randomly select one of the many movies that I own and I watch and review them for you. But today is really like the first big blockbuster to be released in theaters since the whole closing of the pandemic. The first big franchise blockbuster with F9, F Furious 9, with all the colors on the poster, and John Cena's there, and Charlize Theron has a bowl cut, and people are driving fast, furiously. Oh god, this franchise. But since I don't feel comfortable yet with going to the movie theaters and not being able to watch this movie for this release, I thought it'd be really fun to review all of the Fast and Furious films, because I haven't seen them in several years, and actually, the ranking for this was my first time watching Hobbs and Shaw. Never got around to that one. So I thought I'd rank all of them, from my least favorite to my most favorite of this franchise, and boy, I was reaching. Because there's a lot of this franchise that I just shake my head at, and really every single film has many moments of that for me, where I'm just like, come on, really? We're all focused on how cool this car is? I'm not a car guy. I don't know car brands. I don't know what a cool engine is. To me, it was always, does it have an engine? Does it have four wheels? Does it turn on? That's good enough for me. But the way this franchise started, where it was all about, oh, everyone is so obsessed with these cars, and there's girls in short shorts all parading themselves and rubbing themselves on all these cars, and then we're racing them, and the only thing in life is about having a really nice car. And I wanted to throw myself through a glass door. However, this franchise just leapfrogged into an okay franchise when The Rock was introduced in Fast 5. And all of a sudden we have heist movies, and we have combat movies, we have just action-packed big rock punching people movies. And it just left me sitting there watching all of these movies for this review of, how did this franchise go on for so long? And how is it still going on? Because F9 releases today. They've already announced that they're going to make F10. I think that's going to be the final one. If that's not the final one, there's one more after that. How does this franchise keep going? It's because they're going to space. And after they go to space, then they're going to meet the Autobots. That's where it's all leading. Mark my words. But enough about me ranting about this whole toxic masculinity franchise. Let's get into it. My ranking of all the Fast and Furious films here, starting with number 9. At the bottom of my list for this Fast and Furious franchise ranking is, unfortunately, the original The Fast and the Furious movie. This is what I was talking about with these guys who parade themselves around with their beautiful cars, and don't get me wrong, these cars are beautiful to look at, but in terms of like, yeah, see, all the money that I put into this car, it means I'm a pretty cool and badass dude. It tells me that you're overcompensating for something. And that's all this movie is. It talks about racing. It talks about cars. And again, I'm not a car person, so when they're talking about this, I'm like, I don't care. And then I realize, as the plot is going along, oh my god, this is Point Break. This is the new millennia, the 2000s. They've taken Point Break from the 90s and they've put it into the new millennium. Plus, here's also a movie where we can make Vin Diesel happy because, gosh, this character of Toretto makes him seem like a superhero, and anything to feed that man's ego. Also, this film doesn't age well because these criminals, these robbers, the Toretto crew is going after DVD players and like 12-inch tube TVs that have a VHS and DVD combo embedded into the TV, and they're stealing billions of dollars worth of DVD players. Didn't age well. At number 8, and moving chronologically in this franchise, is Too Fast and Too Furious. Or I think it's just Too Fast, Too Furious. Because, see, they're going really fast. Too fast. Too furious. But Vin Diesel didn't come back for this sequel because he didn't like where the script was going. I'm sure he wanted more money too. Paul Walker was like, no, it's fine. Here's a franchise. I like it. Let's go. And they bring in Tyrese to fill Vin Diesel's shoes. And good thing Tyrese is here, because as you'll find out in this entire franchise, he's the one that is the audience's viewpoint of what's happening in the situation, or how the plan is going to go off. Because Tyrese likes to get into these situations, not ask questions beforehand, but just as they're about to make the huge jump, or they're about to fall out of a plane, then he's like, whoa, wait a minute, what are we doing? You mean to tell me that we're taking this car and we're jumping that ramp to get that boat? What? Oh, Tyrese, he's so adorable. And usually this is hailed as the worst one of the franchise, but to me it feels more fun than the original Fast and Furious film. It's kind of like a heist film, a little tiny glimpse into what we're about to get in this franchise later on, but I like the relationship between Paul Walker and Tyrese. And again, I think this movie is just a ton of fun and just a slight improvement from the original. At number 7, again, moving chronologically, is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. We went international with this one, which would later become like a huge thing with the whole franchise. They go to several different locations in one film. But here they went to Japan, and none of the cast returned. Due to script reasons, they wanted rights to video games, they wanted more money. Vin Diesel did show up in the end because I think all of his other franchise attempts with Riddick and Triple X, those didn't work out, so he's like, well, I guess I'll go back to Fast and Furious, because that makes me feel super, and it was a cool franchise. Yes, in my brain, Vin Diesel in real life sounds like Eric Cartman from South Park. But I like the concept of this movie because it's all building towards a race, and the winner of the race gets the pardon from the big mobster, the Marlon Brando guy. And that's what I thought this franchise was. I thought everything was leading up to like a big race that's downtown in the middle of civilization or something like that. I didn't realize that these were bank robbing movies. So when we get to this one and it's all leading up towards a race, I'm very happy. The characters in this movie, though, are shallow as fuck. The first race that we get, we're in high school. Yeah, like these 30-year-olds are in high school. I believe it. But the winner of the race gets little Blondie Susie, and she's in the car driving with her boyfriend, and it's obvious he's gonna lose, and she leans over to him and says, "Don't you love me?" These are lines that were written down on a piece of paper, and someone overseeing everything said, yup, that makes sense, that is a great line, keep it in the movie. That is the level of character development that we get in this film. Plus, I'm also thinking, these people are in high school. How the hell are they getting these tens of thousands of dollars to get these types of cars? When I graduated high school, I thankfully had $3,000 to get an Oldsmobile. Like an old Oldsmobile. Where are your parents from where they give you all of this money? Tokyo Drift, I like the driving, I like the final race, but in terms of character development and just this franchise as a whole, up to this point, it's still not going well. At number 6, again, moving chronologically, I guess getting better with each entry, is Fast and Furious. They took out the thes, they took out the twos, they took out Tokyo. It's just Fast and Furious. And I don't know if that was because it's the 4th film, so it was like, hey, we have 2 F words, 4 starts with an F, and that people will put that together. The reason why I put this one higher than the first 3 is because Letty is killed. And I'm very happy because Michelle Rodriguez annoys the crap out of me in this franchise. She tries so hard at being tough, but then when she's supposed to have those soft and tender moments, she always does the exact same thing of, I need to show my pearly whites and go, every single time. Go back, watch the franchise. I'm not wrong. But this was the film where we started getting the glimpses of where this franchise was headed, where Toretto and Brian are joining forces to do good, as opposed to competing against each other and trying to rip off DVD players. They're trying to take down a Mexican drug lord. And you can tell the cinematography is different. We have a much cooler tone and a much cooler color palette, which makes this film have a more realistic tone to me as an audience member. And plus, this is the first movie with Gal Gadot, and whenever she's on screen, I'm always very happy. At number 5 is the most recent entry in the whole Fast and Furious franchise, and that's Hobbs and Shaw. Now, I'm a huge Rock fan. I've loved him ever since 1998 when he was Intercontinental Champion in WWF, and then the fans started cheering him. He started getting all of his catchphrases. Loved him ever since then. Loved it whenever he trash talked on the mic in WWF. The Rock is gonna whoop your candy ass! And he said that line all the time, and it didn't bother me in professional wrestling. But here in this franchise, he says the ass and what he's going to do to people's asses a lot, but yet it's getting to me in these films, and I don't know why. And that's what this film is. It's just him and Statham looking at each other and describing what they're going to do to each other's asses for like half of this movie. And there's part of me that's like, can we just have the sex scene between these two and get it over with so we can move on? Could we at least put Vanessa Kirby back on the screen, because she is downright gorgeous? And they're fighting Idris Elba, who's this humanistic cyborg, and he's really cool. He's got this cool bike, and he can calculate fighting patterns. He's a pretty cool villain. But I feel this film is here to give The Rock some clarity and some justification with his Samoan bloodline, his Samoan family. Other than these characters who previously showed up in the later Fast and Furious films, does not feel like a Fast and Furious movie at all. This is your 90s, 80s action movie. Yes, they have a couple of cool cars in here that go fast, and these characters at points are furious, but it doesn't feel like it belongs to a franchise. Now in the top 4, and I will say going forward, these last 4 films I actually really enjoy and have very few problems with. At number 4, though, is The Fate of the Furious, the 8th entry in the franchise, because fate rhymes with 8, and people are smart and will put that together, and it's clever. Okay, maybe I had a little problem with this movie, with the title. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie really for one big thing, and that's Charlize Theron. She is a great villain, a ruthless villain who will do anything if anyone crosses her. And it's the one point in the franchise where the biggest villain of the crew is here, and that's Dom. And I thought leading up to it that he was under like some like mind control thing. But no, Charlize Theron just has his old girlfriend who apparently, it turns out that she was pregnant and had his son that he didn't know about. And this whole franchise is about family, so if you tell Toretto that he has a child, well, god damn it, that child's family. Doesn't work too well for that character though in the end. That character gets the shaft in this franchise. But we got a lot of cool action. This is where Hobbs and Shaw actually start developing their relationship, still talking about how they want to beat each other's ass like a Cherokee drum, but it all leads to a pretty cool final battle scene with a Russian submarine. And The Rock changing the trajectory course of a missile by just touching it. It makes so much sense. These top 3 are really interchangeable, and they're changing by the minute. For me, though, right now, at this point, I'm going to put at number 3, Furious 7. This is a difficult film to watch, because during the shooting of this film, real-life actor who plays Brian in the franchise, Paul Walker, died from a car accident, and a very terrible car accident at that. I remember hearing the story and seeing the pictures of his car and how mangled it was. Seeing those pictures again just makes your stomach drop, and they had to pause production of this movie so that director James Wan figured out, okay, how are we going to handle this character? We need to put this out because it's the last thing that he did. We have to honor him. We have to share the last glimpses of this person to everyone that's watched him over the years. And I think what they ended up doing, making Brian retire and putting in the storyline of how he's not loving domestic life, I think is brilliant, and it's beautifully done. It's a masterclass of what to do in just this shitty situation that no one ever wants, I guess, is always a possibility when you do action films like this. But it's really jarring hearing the actual lines in this film and seeing this character Brian go through these death-defying stunts, and I'm sitting there thinking, are they actually going to kill this character off in the movie? I mean, that makes sense, seeing how Paul Walker, he can't perform this character again. So each time he's in a fight or he's doing a stunt, I'm kind of cringing, going, oh my god, are they going to do it? How are they going to handle this? Again, though, how they treated it, the ending of this movie is beautiful. I love it. I just wish the action in the movie kind of lived up to the beauty of that in the end. The Rock is barely in this movie, and it all ends with Vin Diesel again feeding his ego, stomping on a parking garage, and that defeats Statham because he's so super strong. At number 2, and I'm probably going to get hate for this because I think a lot of people are going to have this one on the top of their list. And you're not going to get any argument from me. It's one of the best, and again, I'm going back and forth, but I'm going to put Fast 5 at number 2. This is the first time we saw The Rock in the franchise, and I think this is where he got the title of Franchise Viagra, because after 4, we put The Rock in, and this franchise skyrockets. This film did great at the box office. All of our main characters are still on the run, but they're all running from The Rock, who is the law and justice enforcer of the law, and he has a long goatee. And he's buff as all frickin' hell. But this was like the Avengers of the Fast and Furious franchise, where you took all of the big characters from every movie up to this point, and they put them all into this one big heist film. So they had essence of where they were in the original, but now they're moving in a new direction. Yes, we are heisting, but we're heisting in a really cool way. Ludacris, Tyrese, Gal Gadot, Han from Tokyo Drift all show up here, and they all have really big parts to play. And finally, at number 1 in the Fast and Furious franchise, to me, my favorite out of all of these films is Fast and Furious 6. The one where the good team takes on the Mirror Dimension bad team. Even Tyrese calls that out in the movie, but I don't care. I love it still. I love Luke Evans as the villain of this film too. He's very refined, he's very sophisticated, he's giving our heroes a chance to back out, but in the end he fucks up some shit. All leads to one amazing big final battle scene on this plane, and all these cars have to take it down, and Vin Diesel is taking on Luke Evans, and The Rock is taking on this other big muscular dude. I think the only thing about this movie that turns me off is Michelle Rodriguez taking on Gina Carano, who is a trained mixed martial artist. But again, feeding all of our egos of all of our main actors, they have to make it look like Letty actually stands a chance against her. You don't do that. And they also did it in Furious 7, I forgot to mention it. Letty takes on Ronda Rousey. And it's like, well, you know, they stand toe-to-toe. No, you don't. That aside, though, this movie has stakes. It's the first time that we saw characters actually die. Has a great cliffhanger at the end that no one saw coming, with Statham coming out being the one to kill Han from Tokyo Drift. This was the peak for me. This was the peak of this whole franchise. And that's where I'm going to leave it there. What did you think about my list? What is your ranking of all the Fast and Furious films? Am I right? Am I wrong in my assessment? Whatever you thought, please leave your list below. Let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time here on the channel. But in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, be fast, be furious, live your life a quarter mile at a time, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.